You'll often hear people say that the opposite of love is hate. And on a certain level that makes sense, because they seem to contradict each other, right? I'm here to tell you that that's wrong. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Because in order to hate, you need to care. Contrary to popular belief, when you hate somebody, you do care about them, because you have to use some level of energy to hate, just like you need to use that energy to love. When you're indifferent, you could care less. You don't care either way, whatever happens. So, indifference is actually the opposite of love, and also the opposite of hate, because it's the difference between caring a whole lot, either positively or negatively, or not caring at all. Indifference isn't just the opposite of love and hate, it's also a driving factor in why I'm still alive. And I'm here to tell you why. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. Do you know what indifference is? It's a serious question. I think that your life would be better if you knew what it was. Now, I could be wrong. Of course, I'm often wrong. So, if I am, let me know in the comments below. But I'm pretty sure that I can make your life better. Or maybe just someone who's in your life. Maybe I can make their life better. So, let's just begin. Because me talking is not going to tell you what indifference is. It would have taken you less time to search it up, to be honest with you. So let's get moving. Let's move this somewhere so you can see me. So, what is indifference? Well, it's basically when you could care less about something. Not just something, anything. It's when you don't care about any social or political or, I don't know, any other ols, but you really just don't care. And it may sound really, really simple, and it doesn't seem like it's worth me making a video, but it's actually changed my life. Better yet, it saved my life. And I know that's really dramatic, but I'll explain it in multiple locations because I like to be snazzy and dramatic. My parents got divorced when I was in second grade. And towards the end of second grade, I moved from my native school district to a neighboring one that I had no real connection to. I went to this school for about half of my third grade year. And then around halfway through, I went back to my school district that I was from. But I wasn't at the same school. I wasn't with the same people. And by then, I had already made friends at my first school, lost them when I moved to the second school, made some friends there at the second school, and then lost them again. And by fourth grade, I didn't think I had a purpose. I didn't know why all this was happening. I thought that my life didn't mean anything to anyone. I didn't really feel happy, and it was a shame. So, long story short, I was suicidal in fourth grade. I didn't want to live anymore. And there were different factors. I had moved so many times. I had lost so many friends. But I was also concerned about other people's opinion of me. And this was as a result of my father and my father's side. When I was over there, I didn't feel comfortable. I always felt like I was being judged, and I still sometimes feel it to this day, but not to the same degree. Because the way my father was raised and the way that he's trying to raise me and my brother and my stepbrother and stepsister is that we need to care about what other people think. And we need to dress a certain way and do certain things and not do other things, even if they're not necessarily bad. You know, it wasn't the healthiest thing to teach kids. And then as a result, that leads to my siblings being judgmental of other people and themselves. And I kind of escaped that loop because if you couldn't tell, I'm on the autism spectrum. I don't think like everybody else. I don't even think like my own brother, and we're from the same mom. What ended up happening was that I kind of broke the mold. I showed that you could be happy and you could live life without having to give a shit about other people's opinions of you. And that naturally upset my father because I was actively disobeying him, I guess, but also because he was feeling a certain way about himself and other people's opinions of me and of him as a result. He thought people were going to think lesser of him because of how they thought about me. They were going to think that he wasn't taking care of us because we wore clothes with holes or with stains. And, you know, I don't think anybody actually thought that. I think he just thought that. But that's just me. And I know he might be watching this video, And if you are watching this video, Dad, just don't think that way. It's not the end of the world to not care, you know? Of course, my dad isn't just judgmental sometimes. He's a great guy. He's very determined, he's very capable, he's very knowledgeable, he knows a lot, and he's where I get most of my good qualities from. I'm not trying to diss my dad. I'm just saying that's how I felt when I was younger, and that's what I'm trying to avoid as an adult. I was mixed in my learning about how to handle emotions and handling judgment. And my dad's, it wasn't that great. It was just, oh, you have to care and you have to be by this and do this and be this. And then when I went to my mom's house, it was the exact opposite. It was more radical than my dad's house by far. But then as time passed, it became more like it was second nature to me. My mom basically said, hey, you don't have to care about what other people think of you. Judgment is derived from jealousy and insecurity, and it has nothing to do with you. And that's what I've lived by, for the most part, ever since. Ever since that moment in my life when I was divided on how I should think about how other people think about me. And the right way was effectively the easier way for me, but not the easier way for everybody else. Ever since, I don't know, about 5th grade, a lot of stuff has been said about me. A lot of people have said bad things about me in an attempt to make me feel bad. And it's never worked. It's not like you should never care about other people's opinions ever. Let's say that your best friend is telling you that you're being condescending or that you're making them feel uncomfortable. Yeah, you should care about that. Constructive criticism is important. It's how we become better people. But if you're experiencing hate for something you know is right, something that isn't illegal or wrong, then you don't have to care. That was a short story long story short. I got out of a rut, not just by going to therapy, because I also went to therapy around 4th grade when my mother realized I didn't feel happy. And it wasn't like I was mentally insane, I was just struggling. And therapy also helped me. But adopting this mindset that you didn't have to care about anything, it made my life better. And it can make your life better too. It's not just about me, and it's never about me. I don't like to make things about me because it doesn't feel right. When it serves my conversation or my discussion, I usually bring stuff up that's happened in my past, stuff that people might consider traumatic or sad, and shed light on those things because I don't see it that way. I don't really regret anything. And it's a great place to be because every mistake I've made in some capacity has taught me something that I didn't know before. And I'm not going to go into details and specifics because I did that in a podcast that I have called Occasionally Explicit. One of the episodes called No Regrets is where I talked in full about a lot of things that I've experienced and how it's actually benefited me, even if it was bad. So indifference led me to be happy. It led me out of this rut of not thinking I was good enough, and it helped me be mindful and content with who I was. Now, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't always the answer. It wasn't always the simple solution to complex problems like dating or drama or best friends not wanting to be friends with me anymore. But nonetheless, for the majority of the time, it helped me. And I don't often open up this much about things because of that tiny fear that someone is going to say something. Because I'm not perfect, and nobody is. Nobody is perfect. I can't stress that enough. Even with all this growth I've had, sometimes I still think, what are people going to think about this? And it even happened in one of my videos. When I was on the beach in St. Augustine, Florida, talking about the meaning of life for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, people were looking at me. They were seeing this kid sitting in a red chair, facing a camera and wondering probably what I was doing. And I would see people look at me, and there was a little thought in the back of my head like, oh, people are looking at you, oh my gosh. And then I thought, why do I care? Why does that matter? They're probably just jealous that they're not confident enough to sit on a beach with a camera and not be affected, right? So just having that perspective shift and empathizing with yourself and with others actually makes indifference way more helpful. It's the reason that I always say, you don't have to care about what other people think unless it's someone you care about, unless it's someone whose opinion you value, or if it's an observation and the person who's making it is trying to help you in a way that you can't see. It does not matter. It just doesn't. And I've already said it in multiple videos at this point. In almost all my videos now, I've said some form of this idea, but it's still accurate. I'm not just gonna say it because it's wrong or because you need to just hear me talk. I know it's right. And I'm very stubborn. When I hear something is wrong, I want to know why. And nobody's given me a true reason as to why indifference is bad. A couple times now, when my dad or my stepmom or somebody who feels judged and judges me and other people has asked me, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. No, people are going to think this of you. And I'm like, why does that matter? They don't have a straight answer because the concept of judgment is rooted deeply in insecurity. So when you try to explain it, it makes you uncomfortable. You don't really have an answer. You've just assumed that this is true because of how you feel. And you can't really express how you feel as easily as how you think. When you don't really think about it and you just do it because of how you feel, it's way harder to defend. And they'll never really answer me. And then that's when you know that you've done something that was important. You know that you've struck something that you need to understand and that they need to understand. The reason I make these videos about abstract topics like fear or boredom or indifference is because I know that these ideas in theory are pretty simple, but in practice and in application are not really understood by people. Like, not a lot of people know about the benefits of boredom because they're part of Gen Z and they like watching TikTok, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're cheating yourself out of something much greater than just whatever someone's saying on your screen. If you're more focused on where you are and what you're doing and what you're not doing and what you should be doing, boredom is very useful. Fear is a motivator and a challenge, and something that we often cope with every day. Not always in the most healthy ways, but coping is coping. It's better than just bundling it up, but it's not better than coping healthily. If you're an adult and you drink or you smoke or you do something dangerous or something that can endanger your health to cope with something, oftentimes it's not the best option. But it's better than just bundling it up and letting it fester for years until it finally snaps out of you and you can't take it anymore. And arguably, everything I've talked about so far can be linked back to indifference. So when I say that you don't have to care about what other people think, I mean it. I'm not just saying it for show or to seem like I know more than I actually do, because I never admit that I'm smart. I never admit that I know more than everybody else, because I don't. I just know the right things. Not everything, but some things that are really important that everybody should know. And I also think that everybody should have a therapist, but that's just me. Mental health is a big deal. It's something everybody struggles with and something that everybody needs to manage in a healthy way. So having a therapist is actually very important. It's what helped me. Alongside being indifferent, having a therapist actually benefited me. And I know some people who have had bad experiences with therapists, people who were negligent or intolerant or ignorant about their feelings or their emotions. And I wish they met my therapist because he was so honest and open and he made me feel comfortable. Indifference links to so many things. It helps you be better physically, because the less you care about other people's opinions of you, whether you're skinny as a stick or as fat as a boulder, I'm not body shaming, I'm being objective. It doesn't matter. As long as you are healthy and you are happy, no one can take that from you. No one can take away your happiness but yourself. And sure, you can be influenced by others, but they're never in control of that. The only person who you can control is yourself. It's not me. I can't control you. I can't tell you that indifference is the only way you should live, because it's not. And I know that I'm probably wrong in a lot of situations, but in this situation, I hope you listen to me. And I hope you take what I say into consideration. And I also hope that you take what I say with a grain of salt, because I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't know everything, and I don't know a lot about a lot of things. But I try to only speak about things that I know about. And when I don't know about it, I often look it up and then I talk about it. But in all seriousness, indifference has made a big difference in how I live. Being indifferent has made me comfortable, made me content with who I am. Because the less I judge myself, the more content I am with who I am already. The more you're worried about getting to a destination physically or socially, the more you're going to be disconnected from where you already are. And also, if you're focused on being the best at something and you're never happy with where you are, you'll never be there. You'll never even realize that you're the best, because you'll always be wanting more, and you'll push yourself to the point where you can't go anymore. It's something that I've struggled with, because I try my hardest to make the best content I can, to make the best videos possible, and to make the best videos for people like you who are watching this video and clearly were interested in how indifference changed my life. The thing you should take away from this video is to be indifferent more often. Not all the time. I'm very extreme because I don't have to care about a lot of things. I care about my friends, my family, and my grades, and my YouTube channel, and my track and field career, and my physical well-being, my mental well-being, and my basic needs. But other than that, I don't really care about a lot of other things. I care about being social and being confident and being comfortable and being content. But I don't really care about a lot of other things. And that's more to do with me than indifference. I also think that indifference can be beneficial if it's applied right. If you don't care about anything at all, if you go full nihilism and just decide that nothing matters, you're not going to be happy, because then you'll never find something that matters to you, something that makes you better at whatever you want to be. If you find something or someone that makes your life better while your life is already good enough, then that's the best place you can be. Instead of having something or someone that completes you, that makes you whole, you find someone who makes you even better than you already were. Take that with a grain of salt, because if you find somebody that makes you better and then they leave or they die or whatever happens, will you backsliding into where you already were be bad or good? If you're discontent with yourself, if you can't fathom living without the person that made your life better, then arguably that person shouldn't be in your life, because that's unhealthy. But that's a whole other video. Indifference can be about everything. I could be here for hours, but I don't have that much time. So, if you enjoyed this video, I hope that you'll tell me what you enjoyed about it in the comments. Tell me if you have actually had experiences with indifference, and I hope that I can get some confirmation here. I hope I'm not the only one who's been indifferent through his life. And if you aren't indifferent, tell me what you want to do. Tell me what you want to be when you grow up. Tell me something, because I love reading the comments. I love hearing what you guys and girls have to say. I'm happy that I can be a source of happiness for people. I've seen some comments that have genuinely made me happy. It's brought me to the verge of tears with what some people have said. And I hope that I can make your life better just by talking to you. Obviously, we're not talking face to face. This is a recording. This is digital. So all the pixels are traveling from my screen into YouTube's system and then into your screen. But I hope that the idea gets across. So as always, I will see every single one of you capable, amazing people in the next video. Bye-bye!